One other thing that we saw several times now is that it's actually quite hard to run inference for these bigger models especially. And we've seen quite a bit of variance in the quality of implementation between different cloud providers. We've seen several examples where, at least to start off with, the model provider themselves, even that they released the open source model, they would actually be typically the best at running the model themselves. And while others can download and run the weights, and even very good companies sometimes would struggle to run it as well as the original model provider. So quite often we see variance of just the quality of these implementations. So sometimes what that could practically mean is that these models need to do tool calling, and they would actually fail more if you go to one cloud provider versus another cloud provider. So that could be a big issue, that you think you're running the same thing, but actually the way it's implemented is different. So in practice it would actually be different. There is quite a lot of complexity in how to run inference for these models, and it could be, and we've seen evidence of this, that the way different clouds implement it varies. So that could mean that the performance you expect you actually don't get, which could be a problem for the reputation of these labs, because they've made a good model, they can run it well, but someone takes it, runs it somewhere else, and it's actually not performing as well as they expect it to perform. And this becomes much more difficult when we go to maybe bigger models that optimize for agentic tasks. They need to do many tool calls, so your complexity starts to increase. There are also big variations in hardware. We've got GPUs, well, TPUs now, or AMD chips, NVIDIA chips, maybe Trainium chips. So there's a lot of variation in hardware, in the software layers. The ability to run inference well is actually a really hard problem, and that's another difficulty for open models, is that while they could be open, if you actually interact with them in practice and the performance varies, not because there's a problem with the model, that could also be an argument against using these models at the cheapest price at any cloud provider, because the quality you get is actually not as good.